I guess you can see me. And it's been about a week or so, week and a half, since I've done a video. And I haven't seen too much about stuff. I haven't heard much about August 29th. You don't know how much of it or how much of Fusion Center is blocking. Because they have the ability of what algorithm, what shows up next on your feed, and they probably have the ability to show, who comes in your chats and pretending to be something else. I really don't even know if people see my videos, because I would say it's been months since I even had one subscriber. I mean, it used to be quite a bit, and now there's not even one subscriber. And you can hear with V2K, you can hear them they are definitely tired. And you can get a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, because when you know that there's people taking shifts and they just know that they're bored. They do the zap and talking and all that, and they're doing, I guess, what they're supposed to be doing with the zap and hitting, and there are things that they do, and getting the people around you to do whatever they do. Trying to get you to sound like a paranoid, or trying to get you, it's like when you're a TI, you're not being paranoid, you literally are being. But most people haven't heard of the TI program. They've heard of the Havana syndrome, but they don't realize. It's not to say that the FBI isn't going through that, because when you're a TI and you're hit with directed energy weapons DEWs, the worst thing is when people don't believe you're going through it. So I think having the FBI, whether true or not that they are going through it, I accept that they are going through it, because at least it puts it out there what we are going through, this type of weaponry. And it shows that it can happen to the FBI, who are supposed to go through all these major psychological testing to show how brilliant and smart they are, and they don't just hire people that are just willy-nilly, and they hire some of the best and the best smart people for their country and the whole bit. In my case, I was kind of glad, it sounds paradoxical, but to get the V2K, because I didn't know what it was. I just knew for over 30 years, from 15, broke my arm, and a few months later, I started getting those side pains, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what caused it. I just knew I was getting these zaps right to what felt like my heart, like a heart attack. And you don't know, you just know you're too young to be getting heart attacks, and you don't realize, finally, after a few years and going to doctors, they sent me to specialists, gave me pain medication, which to this day I'm thankful for, that they gave me something to help. I'm not one of those people that's mad that I got pain medication. I was thankful for it, but it wasn't until getting V2K, I just heard, you just know it's somebody yapping to you through some weird electronic recording. You just know you're not nuts. You just know, but the whole thing is to get you to say to somebody, hey, I'm hearing these people talk or yap, or hear especially the phrase, hearing these voices. And just like, there's even online groups that are just called hearing voices groups. They don't think they're TIs, but I think it's the same technology, that they're hearing voices, and they're even into changing the timeline from where it used to be in the early teenage years. Now they're trying to say it spans all the way out to the 30s and 40s. Of course, a lot of this stuff happened around the same time that the explosion of technology and computer knowledge with all that stuff. I gotta check something real quick. Oh, that's good. Okay. Anyway, sorry. But I know from my own case, to go every day, 30 years from high school, most nice, friendliest of my class was a guy. Going to Bible college for the ministry, theology. I didn't finish my last year, but literally, and I knew I was constantly thinking about, and Robert Duncan talks about these religious scripts. And I can say, um, they kept on doing this to my side, and you don't know that there was a they. You just know that it was side pain. You didn't know if it was psychological or stress or anxiety or psychosomatic. You just know you're having this constant side pain. And for 30 years and pain meds and all that, but you're just thankful you got something, but you just want to know. And in my case, literally every day, why is this side pain? Why? And I thought, well, maybe it's because of the stress of studying Christian theology and apologetics and always dealing with anxiety, doubt. And, with V2K, we don't know if it's beforehand, before it becomes audible, what becomes V2K through the microwave, the frame microwave hearing effect. If it's just kind of very low to the point of being subliminal, and they just kind of put some negative ways of thinking or something. But then after 20 or 30 years, they raise the volume to V2K status. And for people who don't know, I would suggest looking at Mark Dice on YouTube about what mind control, or anyway, he does a great job showing the parallels between target individuals and Havana syndrome. And they're trying to push emotions. And the thing is, I literally thought that after 30 years, that it almost became like necrotic tissue. And I thought it was because of the stress of always thinking of Christian theology and apologetics, trying to get my faith up and dealing with questions and doubts. But I kept it to myself because I literally thought, if I told people it might happen to them, they might get stressed out over their questions and doubts and apologetics and apostasy. But it didn't make sense to me because there's been tons of people of faith or doubts or that have gone through this, or faith, Christianity or Judaism, Islam, scrupulosity, OCD with religious faith, that don't have this side pain. It's not like I went through some monks and nuns and have gone through more stuff, more persecution, and it didn't make sense. Well, it was very agonizing, but I know a lot of people have had it. Monks, nuns, or Protestants, or Catholics, or different religions have had it a lot worse, and they don't have the side pain. So that didn't make sense. It wasn't until V2K, and you find out most people who are target individuals get DEWs, directed energy weapons, hitting their body somewhere, their brain, their head, their brain, or their heart, especially. And that's where literally after 35 years, and then going to the Portland rally with Ella Free and Dr. Matt and Meigs B and these wonderful people, that it finally made sense, all of it. And I literally thought none of this would make any sense. Every day would be this constant side pain. Maybe if I die and go to heaven, which, when you're raised religious and you take it seriously, you go to your doctors, but your doctors just act like they don't know, or they don't know maybe, and you don't know what's going on. You're just going to religion and faith, and read books on, apologetic to build your faith. But, and a lot of this stuff from Julian McKinney was saying it's some type of right-wing type of people who think that you're not religious enough or spiritual. Anyway, they do it. They get money for it to torture and experiment on you, but they probably tell other people it's to bring you back to the Lord. And they were doing this to me when I was already studying for the ministry. So, and it's like, well, shit, that's not, well, Well, maybe I swore, I cussed, I said shit. Maybe that's enough to torture me to death to make a person off themselves. And remind you, Dallas is very proud of its being evangelical, pro-life, conservative, which is great. But yeah, I would have bet money that they would have not ever gone with a torture program, torture, suicide money for money program. And I would have been 1,000. I mean, for 30 years, 30 years, 35 years, and still to this day, nobody, even though they know, I even went to the courthouse and they know because I wrote V2K and dumbass cops. And I never had a problem with cops or City Hall. I'd never had any enemies. But when I found out and all this stuff and it made sense, and then cops doing this little number to you, to me, and just like, and it's like, oh God, they could have withdrawn this side pain 30 years ago. They could have told me, they could have literally, I've even had them literally, I don't know how, if they just turned it off, but a couple times just turn it off, and for a few hours, no pain at all, nothing, no pain. It felt normal. And I thought it was necrotic, dead tissue. And it wasn't a change in medicine, it wasn't a change in medication. They literally turned it off, and my heart, my side, whatever, it just felt fine and wonderful. And it's just like, they could have done this years ago. They could have done this still, as they hear me saying, and I can hear them talking. They can do it right now. They could make me feel better instantly. But I've spent thousands, I don't know how many thousands, every day in some form, even with pain meds, always some kind of pain, even though I'm thankful for the pain meds. But it's like, at least now I'm thankful, because with V2K, with that pointed me to understand, and the Ella Free thing in Portland, Dr. Matt, and all these great speakers made me realize target individual. Oh, that's what it was. I literally thought I'd maybe die, and maybe if God and the afterlife, maybe, but now I find at least know what it is. And let's just say, when people, and I used to be pro, and it's hard to be, because like I always thought, well, cops are good, they're not perfect. No, forget not perfect. They wouldn't be part of a torture program, and it's like, it's hard to weigh out when you're trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, and you know that they're doing this, and you know that they're doing this to you. Not all cops, but definitely in their leadership and in higher government, they know this is going on. They're watching TV like CNN and Fox News, Havana syndrome, and they're not saying anything. And it's just like, people in the military, they know this. They sign these non-disclosures for bucks and money, and you hear all these religious stories, like, all these people with their proclamations of, Lord, use me, or let's drain the swamp. And it's like, in this very religious town, I'm in Salem now, but it's like, I just kept on praying that God would do a miracle, or even a small miracle, all those years, where even God would just move someone's heart, move their heart to tell me the truth, even though I already know the truth. I want to see if they have any honesty. And that wasn't done. God couldn't move. I mean, I know there's a God. I think the anthropic principle shows it. I think Richard Taylor's design argument. So it's not an issue of God's existence. It's just the character of these people who claim that they want to drain the swamp, who believe in honesty, hate liars, the whole old-fashioned values. And the same of liberals, too. Liberals haven't gone out of their way to help or tell the truth. Obama put Bill Clinton apologized for the torture in '95. Obama put the thing together with the 9 people for the bioethics thing, but still, they know what's going on, but they haven't come forward and just admitted it. And none of the people in my hometown or in Salem, they already know that we know the truth, but they're not admitting it, and they're not really interested in draining the swamp. Unless it happened, I guess, to their kid or to them personally, then they're interested in draining the swamp. All that corruption talk, corruption for money. Anyway, it's hard to, because I still know that cops have hard jobs. I know that people in government have hard jobs and thousands of things to do. But when it's like when you're a TI and you've gone through this for some people 5 years, 10, 20, 30, every day 30, 40 years, not days, not weeks, not months. And you realize that they're just, you don't know what you can do. No, if you're in trouble, where do you go? The police? I did it once in my life, went to the police for help. And they said, you need a psychologist, you need a psychiatrist, or something. And I fell right into it. I didn't know who was doing these little weird little tricks. I didn't know. And they set me up for, it's like for the whole, and then my medication got changed on me. And it's just like, I fell right into it. I didn't know, I had no enemies. Why would somebody do anything mean to me in my whole entire life? And they still just went and are still doing it. So, but at least I'm glad that I know. I'm thankful to God, and even to some degree, I'm thankful in a weird, call it Stockholm syndrome or whatever, to these people for at least letting me genuinely, because at least I know what it is, and I'm very thankful to know, because it's like when bad things happen to good people. Rabbi Kushner was saying, people can accept things when they know there's a reason. It's when they don't know, that drives people batty. And literally, one of the biggest things with depression is when you're going through all that pain and wondering the normal, like every person does, the why me, or, but it's just, and you just, okay, Lord, well, you just try to, or find medication. But then you find out after 20 or 10, 20, 30 years, they're doing this on purpose. All these years, they could have stopped it. And they're doing it daily. They're paying people to come in, V2K, to do this intentionally on purpose. And they know from all my books, that's the one thing I've always studied, is religion and apologetics and atheism and humanism and trying to make sense out of things. But I've been always a believer. But the idea of using religion to, pretending to use religion, scripts, to see, as a test to see how long people can last before they off themselves, especially from a religious, conservative, pro-life town, to get money for it. And it always comes, unfortunately, I wouldn't have believed that about, not Dallas. Yeah, but I would have been wrong. I mean, I know that people want money, but people make mistakes. Drunk drivers can make mistakes and, horribly kill somebody, feel horrible the next day, want to make amends, never, But in this case, they are literally paying people every single day to come in and do this to you. Every single day for years. In my case, now for 7 years with V2K when it started. And the dues, but the dues have been for over 35 years. I was one when I was about 15, broke my arm, and you just jolts, and you don't know what satellites. I would have never thought that. Never thought satellite or my government was trying to use me as a guinea pig. I never would have thought that, and especially not the people of Dallas. And so I'm still thankful for it. It just makes you look at the people in your hometown very differently. And I don't care if it's like when you believe that they're religious and you think in your head it means one thing, or conservative or liberal, it definitely opens your eyes. And it's just like, but I'm thankful that I know now, because when not knowing, and I think TIs, if you've gone through this dues for years, you're thankful to have an answer. So in that case, I am thankful, and I know not to put all. I'm thankful for some of the doctors that I've had who have helped me with at least sending me to specialists, and because it's just they at least tried to help me with pain meds, and I'm forever thankful for that. because they could have done nothing. But it's just you want to know who put you on this list or just went along with this program for torture when you're a teenager and didn't tell you. None of these people in City Hall or people in Dallas or Salem. So anyway, the good thing is with the Havana syndrome for other TIs, keep your head up. It's in the everyday person's lingo. They know about it now. Look at Mark Dice, look at Jake Tran's YouTube videos. They're talking about this stuff. People know 60 Minutes, they know about it. And I would suggest Mark Dice video on mind control talking about this. And I don't know how much is because when you have 24/7 people monitoring you, you don't know how much of the computer is like in your chat rooms is Fusion Center people pretending or is real people. How much in video is real? Anyway, I gotta go. Bye. Bye, guys.